The wind howled through the desolate hills of Willow Creek, carrying whispers of secrets buried in the earth. The small town, nestled in the shadow of jagged mountains, was no stranger to tragedy, but the death of Elias Hawthorne had shaken its core. Elias, a man of wealth and influence, had been the anchor of the community, his sprawling estate a symbol of prosperity. When he succumbed to a sudden illness, his widow, Clara Hawthorne, became the sole inheritor of his fortune, land, gold, and a legacy that gleamed like a beacon in the eyes of the greedy. Clara, at 35, was a woman of quiet strength. Her beauty was understated, her eyes sharp with intelligence, and her heart still raw from grief. She sat alone in the grand parlor of the Hawthorne estate, the fire crackling in the hearth, when a knock shattered the silence. It was too late for visitors. Her hand tightened around the locket Elias had given her, a keepsake that held a single gold nugget, a token of their love and the wealth they'd built together. She opened the door to find Amos, Elias's oldest friend and business partner. His weathered face, lined with years of ambition, softened into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Clara," he said, his voice dripping with false warmth, "I've come to check on you. Elias would have wanted me to take care of you." Clara's instincts prickled. Amos had always been a shadow in their lives, a man whose loyalty to Elias seemed more tied to profit than friendship. Yet, in her grief, she let him in. Over the next few weeks, Amos became a constant presence. He offered to manage the estate's finances, oversee the tenant farmers, and protect Clara from those who might exploit her widowhood. "You're too fragile for this burden," he'd say, his words cloaked in concern. "Let me handle it all." But Clara was no fool. She noticed the way Amos lingered in the study, poring over Elias's ledgers. She saw the glint in his eyes when he spoke of the gold mine on the northern edge of the estate, a vein Elias had discovered but kept secret from all but her. And she felt the chill of his gaze when he thought she wasn't watching. Amos wasn't here to protect her, he was here to claim what wasn't his. One stormy night, Clara caught him in the act. She'd woken to a creak in the floorboards and crept downstairs to find Amos in the study, prying open a locked drawer. Her breath caught as he pulled out a small chest, the one containing the deeds to the mine, and a stash of gold Elias had kept hidden. Amos froze when he saw her, his face twisting into a mask of guilt. "Clara, this isn't what it looks like," he stammered, clutching the chest. "I was ensuring its safety." "Safety?" Clara's voice was steel. "You think I don't know what you're after? Elias trusted you, Amos. I won't make the same mistake." Amos's demeanor shifted. The false kindness vanished, replaced by a sneer. "You're a widow alone in a man's world. Clara, you can't hold on to this fortune. Hand it over, and I'll make sure you're comfortable. Defy me, and you'll regret it." The threat hung heavy in the air. Clara's heart pounded, but she stood her ground. "Get out," she said, her voice low and dangerous, "and don't come back." Amos left, but Clara knew this was only the beginning. The next morning, she discovered the chest was gone, stolen in the night. Worse, whispers began to spread in Willow Creek. Amos was telling anyone who'd listen that Clara was unfit to manage the estate, that she was squandering Elias's legacy. He rallied the town's greedier souls, promising shares of the mines, wealth if they supported his claim to the Hawthorne fortune. Legal battles loomed, and Clara's position grew precarious. But Clara wasn't one to surrender. She'd learned from Elias how to play the long game, how to turn an enemy's strength into their weakness. And she had an unexpected ally, Jasper Reed, a young rancher who'd worked for Elias and harbored a quiet resentment toward Amos. Jasper was 10 years Clara's junior, with a rugged charm and a reputation for outsmarting those who underestimated him. He'd once clashed with Amos over a land deal, and the older man had humiliated him in front of the town. Jasper hadn't forgotten. Clara invited Jasper to the estate under the guise of discussing tenant contracts. In the privacy of the parlor, she laid out her plan. "Amos thinks he's won," she said, her eyes burning with resolve. "But I'm going to take everything from him: his pride, his greed, his future, and I need your help." Jasper leaned forward, intrigued. "What's in it for me?" "Revenge," Clara replied, "and a stake in something bigger than Amos could ever dream of." The plan was audacious, a gamble that could either secure Clara's legacy or ruin her. She proposed a marriage of convenience, not for love, but for strategy. By marrying Jasper, she'd make him the legal heir to the Hawthorne estate. Cutting Amos out entirely, Jasper's youth and ambition would signal to the town that Clara was no damsel in distress. She was a force to be reckoned with. And Jasper, with his knowledge of the land and his knack for outmaneuvering rivals, could help her reclaim what Amos had stolen. Jasper agreed, but not without hesitation. Amos won't take this lying down, he warned. He's got friends in high places. Then we'll have to be smarter, Clara said. And faster. The wedding was a quiet affair held in the town's small chapel, under the suspicious gazes of Willow Creek's residents. Amos wasn't invited, but word reached him quickly. His fury was palpable, his threats delivered through intermediaries. Clara's made a mistake she'll pay for. But Clara and Jasper were already moving, their partnership fueled by a shared goal to destroy Amos's ambitions. Their first step was to secure the mine. Clara knew the chest Amos had stolen contained only a fraction of the gold. The real wealth lay in the untapped vein, its location known only to her. She and Jasper rode out under cover of darkness, guided by Elias's old maps. The mine's entrance was hidden in a ravine, concealed by years of overgrowth. As they worked to clear it, Clara felt a pang of guilt. Was she betraying Elias's memory by bringing Jasper into this? But she pushed the thought aside. This wasn't about love, it was about survival. Days turned into weeks, and the town buzzed with rumors. Amos, emboldened by his theft, filed a legal claim against the estate, alleging Clara had mismanaged it. He produced forged documents claiming Elias had promised him the mine. The townsfolk, swayed by his promises of shared wealth, began to turn against Clara. Even Jasper's loyalty was questioned, as whispers spread that he'd married her only for the fortune. Clara felt the walls closing in, but she refused to break. She and Jasper worked tirelessly, extracting enough gold to fund a counteroffensive. They hired a sharp lawyer from the city, a woman named Evelyn who saw through Amos's lies. Evelyn uncovered evidence of Amos's past frauds, land deals gone sour, debts unpaid. But Amos was cunning, always one step ahead, and Clara knew a legal victory alone wouldn't be enough. She needed to expose him in a way that left no doubt. The turning point came when Jasper discovered a hidden ledger in Amos's office, smuggled out by a disgruntled clerk. It detailed Amos's plan to sell the stolen gold and bribe the town's officials to secure the estate. The ledger was damning, but presenting it in court would take time Clara didn't have. Amos's allies were closing in, and a mysterious fire had nearly destroyed the barn where Clara stored her maps. That's when Clara devised her final play. She invited Amos to the estate for a settlement meeting, knowing his greed would compel him to come. The parlor was dimly lit, the air thick with tension. Amos arrived, smug and confident, flanked by two hired men. Jasper stood at Clara's side, his presence a quiet warning. "Amos," Clara began, her voice calm but laced with steel. "You've taken what's mine, but I'm willing to negotiate. Return the chest, withdraw your claim, and I'll let you walk away." Amos laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "You're in no position to bargain, Clara. The town's on my side, and your little husband here won't change that." Clara smiled, a glint of triumph in her eyes. "You're wrong, Amos. You've always underestimated me." Before he could respond, the door burst open. Evelyn entered, flanked by the town's sheriff and a crowd of onlookers. In her hand was the ledger, its pages open to Amos's treachery. The sheriff, who'd been skeptical of Amos's promises, read the evidence aloud. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Amos's lies unraveled. His hired man, sensing the tide turning, slipped away into the night. Amos's face paled. "This is a setup," he roared, but the crowd's murmurs drowned him out. The sheriff seized the chest from his coat, its contents untouched. Clara's heart surged as she reclaimed what was hers, but she wasn't done. "Amos," she said, stepping closer, "you thought you could claim me, my home, my life. But greed has no age limit, and neither does justice. You'll leave Willow Creek tonight, or you'll face the consequences." Defeated, Amos fled, his reputation in tatters. The town, once swayed by his promises, turned its back on him. Clara and Jasper, now bound by more than a contract, stood stronger than ever. The mine's wealth secured the estate's future, and Clara's resolve inspired the town to rally behind her. But the story didn't end there. Months later, A letter arrived from a distant city. Amos had been found, penniless and broken, begging for scraps. Clara felt no pity, only a quiet satisfaction. She'd learned a valuable lesson. Greed could destroy, but resilience could rebuild. As she stood on the porch of the Hawthorne estate, Jasper at her side, Clara clutched the locket. The gold nugget inside gleamed, a reminder of Elias's love and her own strength. She'd outwitted a predator, reclaimed her legacy, and forged an unexpected partnership. And in Willow Creek, where whispers carried secrets, her story became a legend, a warning to the greedy and a beacon to those who dared to fight.